Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Reata Horsemanship Family Q&A Wednesday. I'm excited to be with you guys here today, and excited for a great Q&A session. And we've got some really good questions today, and I'm just pumped to be able to converse with you every week. Remember, when you join the Reata Horsemanship Family, you get to be a part of this one-on-one, basically, conversation between me and you and the questions that you have, and I'm excited to be here with you. And Stacy is with me as well. She's in the background watching the questions and gonna ask me some of those questions. Just three quick announcements. We have our lifetime membership that is $247. That is ending on Sunday night, so March 17th, this coming Sunday night at 12 p.m. Is that how you say it, 12 p.m.? Or is that 12 a.m.? 11:59 p.m. That's going to be the last time anybody will get the membership for $247. So if you want to join the membership and never have to pay again for a monthly fee, make sure to join before Sunday. If you need that link, check with Stacy or message us on Facebook or wherever you can get a hold of us if you don't see the link. But we are marketing that online, so you should be able to find that. And I've also sent out an email regarding it. Second is our clinic is this weekend. It's a problem-solving clinic, and we do have one spot available. We can squeeze in one more spot. So if anybody's interested in doing the clinic this weekend, we have one spot available here at Reata Horsemanship. That's going to be a great clinic. Did you have anything with that?
Nope. We just have someone who messaged me asking how to get on our Reata Horsemanship family to do the live, but she has to be accepted. Is that correct?
You have to be. Oh, did she ask from the Reata Horsemanship page?
No, she just texted me. So,
okay.
Yeah, so can she join this live?
Yeah, you have to be a member of the group, so you have to request to join the group. Okay. So if you haven't requested to join the group, and there's a couple of questions you have to answer in there to join the group, and then we'll let you in. So I don't know if Stacy will be able to do that during this or not.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
Okay, so you can watch the replay. She can watch the replay on it. And the third announcement is, remember our book. It's Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Remember, at Reata Horsemanship, we're not just working on horsemanship, we're working on life skills. We're working on becoming better people. And so we have a book every week, every month that we're reading. And it's not this coming Monday, but the Monday after that, we're going to have the book club in the evening, just like this time, 5:30 at Arizona time. We're going to do the book club. So it's an online meetup, and we're going to talk about that book. So make sure to read the book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
Okay, perfect. So we have our first question, and it is from Barbara.
Okay.
She said, how to get a horse to straddle a pole, and what are the baby steps for the goal? Okay.
Barbara, I assume that you're asking about straddling a pole, meaning your horse walks forward over a pole and the pole is perpendicular to your horse, so the pole is going left and right and your horse is walking over it. That's what I'm guessing, instead of straddling it with like right in the middle, facing the same direction. Let's assume that the pole is going right to left or underneath your horse. How to get your horse to step over that pole and stop? First of all, it's the pass-through exercise. It's the greatest exercise you can do for this kind of thing. But you want to do it without the pole. You want to teach your horse to do the pass-through exercise along a fence. Once your horse can go between you and a fence and yield nicely and then stop on your shoulder, then you point and you send them through and they yield nicely on the other side. If they're not pushing into your space, if they're giving you space by moving their shoulder away from you towards the fence, if you have all of those pieces down, now as you ask your horse to come through, when you point to ask your horse to come through, your cue for your horse to stop and either yield his hindquarters or just stop, period, is dropping your hand. So this is your neutral position to tell your horse to keep going, and then when you drop your hand, that's your horse's cue to stop. So over time, once your horse gets good at pass-through, then they're going to start getting a little bit tired of going through. And that's kind of hard work for them. So make it easy on them by when you want them to stop between you and the fence, you drop your hand. Now, if they're a little bit panicked, if they're a little claustrophobic, that's going to be hard for them to stop when they go between you and the fence. But just keep practicing it. Don't worry. If you drop your hand and they keep walking, don't worry. What I do is I point. When I'm ready for them to stop, I drop my hand. If they don't stop and they keep going, I'll point again, send them through, yield the hindquarters, and then change directions. And as they come through again, I'll drop my hand, and I might even say, whoa. If you use the cue whoa for your horse to stop, make sure to use that verbal cue as well for your horse to stop. So eventually your horse is, if your horse is not panicked and not feeling claustrophobic going between you and the fence, he will learn to stop when you drop your hand. And once you drop your hand, you can rub all over him, make him feel really good between you and the fence. Once you get that down really well, then you can start doing that with a pole. And you can just take a pole and put it between you and the fence, and then ask your horse to go between you and the fence, and your horse has to step over the pole. And you do the same thing. Make sure they can pass through, step over the pole, go through, yield the hindquarters, face your opposite shoulder, start again and go the other direction. Once they can step over that pole and they're nice and comfortable with it, then as they step over the pole, drop your hand. And pretty soon, because they know how to stop between you and the fence, now they're going to learn to stop over that pole. And once they get good at that, and you drop your hand, they stop, and you can rub them to rest, then you can start putting that pole anywhere. You can start putting that pole out in the middle of the arena and do the pass-through exercise in the middle of the arena. And as he steps over, just drop your hand, let him stop and rest over that pole. Another thing you can do is get your horse to hunt that pole by doing what I call a mark training. Mark training is a way to teach your horse to find a certain mark and find their release at that mark. They know they get their release at that mark. Now, mark training, I have some videos that I filmed, but that's a course that I'm getting. It's on the back burner. We're going to be putting the Reata Horsemanship membership, but the general idea is work your horse away from the mark and then give them release on the mark. And that mark would be over that pole. And that will really help solidify your horse, the idea that your horse wants to get over that pole and stand there. Once he steps over the pole and that pole's underneath him and he gets rest, he's going to hunt that pole and like being there.
Okay. And the second question that Barbara has is, how do I get Star from running to the stall when I walk her out? It's like her safe space. She has done this since I got her, and even when I go out to just be with her, no working, she runs to her stall.
Okay, Barbara, I looked at this question earlier, and there's a few things that I don't know about this situation, but I'm going to make some assumptions. One of those is I'm assuming that that you have a field or some kind of area where your horse, a turnout area, and then you have a stall, and the stall is connected to the turnout area, and your horse Star wants to run back to the stall when you're out there in the turnout. One thing you can do is shut the door to the stall, and if Star runs over to the gate, but it's closed to get into the stall, then you can. What you'll do is move your horse's feet at the stall. So make her move her feet, make it hard to be at the stall, and when she leaves the stall, release your pressure and let her have a break. But if she goes over to the stall, make her work, make her move her feet. And you're her leader, and she's gonna start looking to you for leadership. Instead of looking for relief at the stall, she's gonna start finding relief away from the stall and also with you. You can get her to where if you put pressure on her at the stall and then you walk away, she might follow you away from the stall. Now that's not being connected to your horse physically. That's not having a halter or a lead rope. If you have a halter or lead rope and you lead your horse away from the stall, and then you said she runs back to the, I'm assuming it's a mare Star. You said she runs back to the stall. Does that mean she pulls loose from you with the lead rope and runs back? Or does that, I'm not sure exactly what that means. But if you are connected with the lead rope and halter and she wants to go back to the stall, take her to the stall and then move her feet there. Do the pass-through exercise. Do backing in circles around in that area. Do lunging. With, I'm starting to call it lunging with purpose. Lunge with purpose and yield the hindquarters. Lunge with purpose and yield the forequarters. Do some side passing. Just make her work around there. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're teaching your horse to not be magnetized to that area, and you're teaching your horse to listen to you and respond to cues and be appropriate in her response. Getting soft laterally and soft in her backing and soft in moving forward. So you can work on your groundwork. Use her energy and her desire to be in that area to your advantage by helping her move her feet when she's there and then releasing your pressure when she's not there. And pretty soon she'll start thinking it's not the greatest idea to be over there. Now, if Star is a horse that you're riding, and I'm just assuming for everybody, maybe Star isn't a horse you're riding, but if it is a horse you're riding, this is a barn sour issue. This is an issue where a horse wants to go to a certain area, and I just call it demagnetizing. You demagnetize a horse. If a horse is barn sour, they're magnetized to that area. If you think of a negative and a positive magnet, they suck together, and that's exactly what happens when your horse wants to be somewhere. It feels like they're just drawn to that area. They're sucked to that area. So to demagnetize your horse from the area, you want to just move their feet at the area and let them rest when they're not there. So if you go on a long ride and you come back, and the first thing you do is when you first get back, you've got a horse that's pretty barn sour, you take off the saddle and you put him back in his stall. Guess what? That horse is going to get worse and worse. He's going to always want to go to the barn, always going to want to go to the stall because he gets his rest there. But if you return from a ride, you give yourself 30 minutes after your ride, and you just move his feet a bunch, either on the ground or in the saddle, there at the stall, and then you take him away from the stall and tie him up for an hour or two. Of course, give him a drink of water. That's really important to make sure you give him a drink of water, but then go tie him up for an hour or two and let him rest away from the stall. When they start anticipating that they're going to rest away from the stall, they'll stop looking to the stall as their magnet. And that's going to really help you out.
Okay.
And then Desiree, just so you know, Desiree asked a question.
Oh, perfect. Do you see that? Do you need me to go to that one? Here, I'm going to ask you this question, then we'll get to Desiree's question. Okay. My horse is safe and respectful when I'm alone with him, but when other horses are around, he crowds my space, and it's hard for him to listen to me. What can I do to help?
Okay, can you just repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my horse is safe and respectful when I'm alone with him.
Okay.
But when other horses are around, he crowds my space, and it's hard for him to listen to me. What can I do to help?
Okay, so this is pretty much a leadership issue, and if your horse looks to you as their leader, then in most cases, it doesn't matter how many horses are around because they're listening to you. Now, this is a hard thing to get. This is the hard thing to teach people, and it's also a hard thing to teach your horse. And it depends on the horse. Some horses that are highly anxious are horses that are going to take a lot more time and effort to get them to where they'll listen to you consistently and not be worried about all the other horses around them. But your goal should always be, my horse is listening to me 100% of the time. If my horse is listening to me 100% of the time, if they start to get distracted by another horse, let's say my horse looks over here to the right, and at another horse they put their ears over here, I'm just going to pick up on that left rein and maybe wiggle a little bit with my left heel and ask my horse to pay attention to this side. I might even start to do some short serpentines, or move their feet usually away from the direction that they're focused on, and get them thinking about you. Yield the hindquarters. So I might turn her head to the right, yield the hindquarters to the left, and then move forward. And if she gets distracted again, I'm just going to do something to get her attention on me. And the more you can do that, the more she is going to listen to you and follow you as her leader. What happens is all those other horses get around and she loses confidence, and she starts paying attention to those horses and wondering what they want and wondering about that hierarchical order in that herd versus just thinking about the herd of you and your horse. I tell people when I'm with my horse by myself, or I'm with my horse with other horses and other riders, whatever it is, I'm in one herd. That's me and my horse. That's it. I'm the leader. My horse is the follower. And if you can just drill that into your horse's head and drill it into your own head and just practice it over and over again, you'll get to the point where your horse will be very comfortable, even in a situation where there are lots of horses around. One of the worst things you can do is if there are lots of horses around and your horse starts getting excited, you pull back with two reins. Buck Brannaman said this last weekend. He said, no horse who ever was troubled was ever corrected, or now I'm messing up the quote. It was actually a Ray Hunt quote, but he said something like, no horse that was ever troubled was fixed by pulling back on two reins. So remember that. Don't pull back on two reins. You cannot fix a troubled horse by pulling back on two reins, ever. You want to bend them laterally. Get them bending and listening to you. Listen to your feet, listen to your reins, and responding to you. And that's going to help.
Okay. So Desiree's question is, so my horse was great in the round pen. Now he's stopping and trying to buck and kick.
Okay, and she also threw up another question there.
Okay.
So my horse was great in the round pen, but now he's stopping, rearing and bucking and kicking.
Yeah. And I'll read just the second part. She said, what if the horse rears and runs towards that horse? Oh, so that was probably to the question, the last question.
Yeah, let's go to that question. Let's go to that question first.
Okay.
Desiree, you got some good questions too. So what if the horse rears and runs toward that horse? Now, I'm assuming you're talking about what if a horse in the herd rears and runs towards the horse that I'm on? If that's the case, okay, let's talk about two scenarios. One is another horse rears and charges me. If that happens, I'm going to try to get out of the way, right? First and foremost, try to get out of the way. If a horse wheels around to kick at me, I'm going to raise my leg up as high as possible because they're going to kick the ribs, they're going to kick the shoulder, they're going to kick somewhere relatively low, generally speaking. So get your foot in the air so they don't. I've known people that have broken knees, broken legs from being kicked by another horse. So that's number one, is get to a safe position. Bring your foot up. Or if a horse rears to charge at you, get the heck out of Dodge. Just move your feet away, get away from that horse, because that horse is dominant and trying to move your feet. Allow him to move your feet in that instant, because it's not a safe time to try to correct that. If you know that that's going to happen, then you want to take something. Your horse needs to be good with like a flag on top of them. That's why I do desensitizing. I desensitize on the ground, I desensitize in the saddle, and I make sure that my horse can handle a flag up above them and all around them. And so if I have another horse charge me when I'm on a horse, I'm going to take that flag and I'm going to go right towards that horse. I'm going to charge them. I'm going to do my very best to encourage my horse to move forward, and I'm going to charge them with my flag and push them away. And in most cases, 99 out of 100 times probably, if you move quickly and you're very assertive in your movement, you can get the other horse to move away by doing that. Now, if it's your own horse that's rearing and charging other horses, then that's a whole nother issue. But that's, it's one of the symptoms of the problem of your horse not listening to you. A lot of horses out on the trail will want to squeal, pin their ears, and kick at another horse. I remember a few months back, I had a horse in training, and I took her out on a trail ride. And as I was trotting down the trail and leading the group, she's just a 3-year-old mare that was just been started, but I get them to where I can lead the group out. And she's trotting along, and another horse got behind her, and my horse pinned her ears and went to kick that horse. Well, I immediately put my mare to work, or that mare in training. I put her to work, moved her feet, brought her off the trail, started doing circles, started doing serpentines, circled some bushes, did some backing, did some loping. I put her to work, and then I moved her back onto the trail and kept going. Now, if you're in a position where you're on a narrow trail and you can't do that, you still can affect your horse's behavior by doing something. If they're gonna kick at the horse behind you, get after them by bumping them with your heels or your spurs, or spanking them with if you have a dressage whip or something, or the end of your reins, or your hand on their butt, whatever you have to do to get their attention and move them out so that they don't think that that's okay. They need pressure put on them when that happens.
Okay. We'll get back to her first question. So my horse was great in the round pen, and now he's stopping and trying to buck and kick.
Okay. I'm assuming this from Desiree.
Yes.
I'm assuming, Desiree, that you are talking about round pinning the way I round pin. I was told this weekend that round pinning isn't a verb, but I use it as a verb because I have a couple of specific exercises that I use in the round pin, so I call it round pinning. What do? I ask my horse to move around. I make sure they move around on the outside of the round pin. I make sure they go at the speed and direction I want. I make sure they turn to the inside towards me to change directions, and then I make sure they'll follow me around. So if you're round pinning that way and you're not connected with a halter and a lead rope, you need to have a stick and string in your hand, or a flag, something that you can put pressure on your horse. I like a stick and string because it gives me 10 feet of arm. So my arm is, let's say it's, almost 3 feet long, but with an extra 10 feet of reach, I can reach my horse without being in a dangerous position. So if I'm asking my horse to go in one direction and my horse decides to balk a little bit and stop and rear up, I'm going to come at him with some fury, and I'm going to tell him, nope, you move your feet. So I'm going to point, kiss, or cluck, and then I'm going to spank the butt. I want to put enough pressure on them to get them to move forward. And as soon as they move forward, I'm going to release that pressure and let that feel good to them. When they're flowing around that round pen, I want that to feel good to them. So make that easier than when they're rearing and causing a stink. So if they're kicking, rearing, if they're kicking at you, that's total disrespect. And you want to make sure be able to reach them with a long stick and string and swat that butt and get them to move away. Think about other horses. If a horse pins their ears at another horse, let's say I'm a horse and I have another horse that I'm trying to move their feet. If I look at them, start to move towards them, and I pin my ears, and that horse pins his ears back, and I stop, guess what? That horse is commanding me. That horse is leading me. That horse is directing my feet. But if I'm the leader, I'm going to pin my ears and come at him even more firm. And if I have to, I'm going to go in and bite him. I'm going to spin around and kick him, assuming I'm a horse, right? So think about horse behavior. What will a horse do? They'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. If once they teach a horse that they're the leader, then all they have to do is just look at them. Just give them a look, and that horse will move out of their way so they can come in and get feed or what have you. So one thing that could be happening, Desiree, is if your horse was doing well in round pinning and now that she's starting to balk and rear and kick and buck and whatever, it might be that you're not releasing your pressure. A lot of horses will get sour in the round pen and get sour in the arena because, and this happens almost 100% of the time. When somebody tells me my horse is arena sour, my horse likes to be out on the trail but doesn't like the arena, or my horse doesn't like the round pen, and this is the behavior that they show. They rear up, they refuse to go anywhere, they pin their ears. It's usually because your timing is poor. So work on that timing, work on like if I'm asking my horse to move, remember it's point first, then it's cluck or kiss. I kiss to canter. So I use a verbal cue. I point, visual cue. I cluck or kiss, then I swing my stick. If they don't move off of my pressure, now pointing, that's assuming I'm connected with a lead rope, but let's say I'm not connected with lead rope and we're just round pinning. I'm going to point like this. So I'm just going to point so they see my hand come up and, I'm going to point, and then I'm going to kiss or cluck, and then I'm going to start swinging my stick. If they don't move, I'm going to keep pointing, keep clucking, then I'm going to drop my string, and I'm going to spank the ground. If they don't move faster, then I'm going to come in and spank the button. Now remember, your direction of your movement has to continue to go behind the drive line. That's right behind the shoulder. If your horse has a tendency to look towards you and they want to turn their hips away, move their hips away and look at you, and you keep having that problem where they turn and look at you, then you need to move your direction of your pressure closer towards their head. So pressure towards the head as far as your walking goes, but then your pressure from your stick is going behind to the butt. So I'm still driving my horse forward, but my stick pressure and my string pressure goes behind so they can feel the pressure from my body and then feel the pressure on their butt. And as soon as they speed up, then release your pressure and keep walking in a circle. And that's really going to help your horse start to learn that there is a way out of the pressure. They have to understand there's a way out of the pressure. And then you can do this kind of stuff all day long. I can work with a horse literally all day and keep working with them and teaching them different things because I'm releasing the pressure when they get it right, or when they start to get it right, or at least when they're trying to get it right. I shouldn't say when they're trying to get it right. When they're trying to get it right, I hold my pressure. When they get it right, start to get it right, that's when I release my pressure. So just work on your pressure and your release and your body positioning, and I bet your horse will stop being sour and stop refusing to go forward. But don't tolerate that. Like it's bad behavior. But there's a lot of reasons for it. But make sure that you're very clear you want them to move out, and when they do, release your pressure.
Okay, and I will say, I believe Desiree just joined the membership this last week, and so she can go in there and find those goal videos on how to round pen and just watch when you're releasing pressure, making sure their butt's not turned towards you when they're changing direction, things like that.
Yeah, I've got some round pinning videos in there. It's in the virtual clinic. I've got some round penning videos there's a couple hours of those videos that you can watch and pay attention to all my cues and how I'm positioning myself. And there's a couple different horses in there. One horse that's kind of lazy and dull and not very responsive. And then there's a big off the track thoroughbred that's very reactive. And we might even have 3 in there, but there's some different personalities of horses that you have to address differently. A horse that's really sensitive and reactive, you can be you always have to be smooth and rhythmic with your movements, but with a horse that's super reactive, you got to be even more so, if you put too much pressure on a horse that's too sensitive, they're going to want to jump out of the round pen.
Okay, perfect. We have our last question for the night, and it's, I have a horse that won't stand still for the farrier and is causing an unsafe situation. How can I get my horse to be respectful and confident for the farrier?
Okay. Not standing still for the farrier is very, very common. It's one of the most common complaints that farriers have. Another one is, stomping their foot down or kicking. So if the horse isn't trying to kick you, if the horse is just moving her feet and won't stand still, it's the same idea as if I'm trying to saddle my horse or trying to brush my horse or trying to bridle my horse, or I'm just standing talking to somebody. I want my horse's feet to stand still. And if my horse is fidgety and won't won't stay still, then basically the general idea is move your horse's feet. If they want to move, then I'm going to ask them to move a little bit harder. I'm going to ask them to back up. This reminds me of there was a time I had a horse in training. He was an Arabian gelding that came to me for training, and he was with me for 3 months. And there was a farrier that came to work with him, and this was a really, really good farrier that also had learned how to train from Monty Roberts. Literally was one of his interns for Monty Roberts. Pretty cool. He's out on the west side of Phoenix, and he was trying to shoe this horse, and this horse was getting real fidgety. And all I did with his horse, now your horse has to be good with their groundwork. If they're not good with their groundwork, you're not going to be able to teach them this stuff in the moment you're with your farrier. So get really good with your groundwork. And if you're good with your groundwork, now you can apply that groundwork when a situation like this happens. A lot of situations will go away once your horse is good with the groundwork. But like in this case, this horse didn't want to stand still. All I did was I just took him and I said, can I have him for a second? I just moved him left to right. I did pass through probably 3 or 4 times pretty quickly. I got in, what I call get in and get out. I moved him, then I got out, let him stand there. And that farrier picked up the foot and shod him all the way around, and he was blown away. He's like, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen it. And this is a guy that worked with Monty Roberts. So, and it's not that I'm that special. I mean, Monty Roberts is incredible, but he hadn't seen that idea of just moving the horse's feet. Now, if your horse, now this is a real sensitive Arabian, if you're not good with your timing, if you start moving your horse's feet and you get them real excited and you don't quit at the right time, then you might even have a harder time getting them to keep their feet still. So you get in, get out, move them a little bit, then let them rest. Sometimes if a horse just won't keep his feet still, I'll take him out and I'll do some lunging. I'll work on my lunging. Lunging with purpose, yielding the hindquarters, yielding the forequarters, back them up quite a bit. Anything you can do to, if you want to tire them out a little bit, that's okay. And then allow them to stand still. And once they figure out that if they just stand there, they don't have to work very hard. Actually, they don't have to work at all. Then they start realizing that it's much better to stand there and let the farrier mess with their foot than fidget around and have to work their butt off.
Okay, I think that's the questions for today. And we'll just reminder about our upcoming clinic.
Okay.
Either come watch it or participate.
So we make sure if you're not participating in the clinic this weekend, contact us and get our address, or we have our address on Facebook. So come out to the clinic. It's going to be from about 8 to 3, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing some problem solving. I'm going to be doing some groundwork, some riding exercises. A couple of the horses that people are coming to work with are actually in training with me. And so I'm just going to be teaching them how to do the groundwork, potentially some riding, but most likely groundwork. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So come and hang out and watch the clinic and learn from me and get to know us. We'd love to get to know you. anything else. And we do have one spot available that we could squeeze somebody into the clinic if you're interested in getting that one-on-one, that hands-on experience. It will be life-changing, I promise you.
Okay, I think that's it. We have till Sunday for the membership.
Yep, so don't forget about the membership, the lifetime membership. This is going away. The offer is going away on Sunday night at midnight. And that's $247 for lifetime membership. That means you get all the videos, and we're going to do lifetime membership a little bit differently in the future. It's going to be at least around $1,000, and it's going to entail probably just the stuff that we have in there right now. And if we have more stuff that comes in, like more courses, more training videos, eventually the people that buy the lifetime membership, they may not have access to the future stuff. But you guys, if you get in a lifetime membership now for just $247, you literally get anything that we bring into the membership. So any courses that we've got 2 or 3 courses coming this year. We've got a trail course that we're actually going to start marketing on Monday. That's going to be in the membership. It's a preparing your horse for the trail. It's the secrets of a safe trail horse is what we call it. So we've got courses coming in that membership, and we've got tons of training videos. You can be part of our book club, the discussion every month, and be part of the online community there as well. So we thank you guys for watching. Anything else?
Nope. We'll just look forward to the questions next week.
Thank you, and great comments and great questions. Thanks, Deb, for saying great questions and answers. Desiree said suggest for white line. Desiree, do you mean white lines disease? I'm not sure if you're talking about white lines disease. We're probably going to get a farrier on here relatively in the near future. Some expert farrier that can talk to us and we can ask them questions about stuff like that. I'm not real keen on knowing that. I'm more on the training side, but we'll certainly get somebody that can answer those questions. We'll probably have some vets and other professionals as well on this Q&A and on our podcast. Remember to go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube to find this in the future. If you don't want to scroll down and try to find it here in the Reata Horsemanship family, it's going to be available there. Just go to our website and then go to the bottom, click on Spotify or wherever you like to, or YouTube, wherever you like to watch it or listen to it, and you'll get it there. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Until next time, be thankful, live with purpose, live with passion, and as always, stay safe in the saddle.